everybody, Chris here. So Dogecoin's price is holding above a support cluster as crypto market recovers from Wednesday's big drop following the FOMC. We'll get into all that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And Wednesday evening, we did have a follow-up to Jerome Powell and the FOMC and what Powell said about September rate cuts. And nobody should be surprised about it. I even spelled out exactly what was going to happen because Powell is supposed to be looking at the data, right? The FOMC, all of them should be just looking at what the data is and not talking about the fear, what I call the fear of something that may or may not happen in the future. They don't have control over it, but they do control the money supply. And they could have lowered interest rates yesterday. But instead, someone asks, well, what about September? And of course, Powell's not going to commit to something in the future, right? Going to have to see more data. Well, that's been the story month after month after month. And it continues. Didn't surprise me, but everyone else who was all really cutting up about the September rate cuts, and that's when the markets are going to take off, and Powell wasn't going to bite on that. He's not going to commit to something in the future. Just think about it. Anyway. The markets are recovering, though. We'll take a look at the crypto prices, Bitcoin, ETH, and Doge. Let's get into it. Let me show you the charts of the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. We start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart, over 22 cents. And this was sort of the lopsided V-shaped recovery. This is very typical, right? You have a big drop, and then the recovery takes a little bit longer. It's not a complete straight V, but it just kind of tails off. But Dogecoin this morning was up higher than it was right during yesterday's FOMC before the Q&A session and the big drop in the price. So Doge did drop right below 21 cents. That's right. Could have gotten Doge for $20.95. $20.95. But Doge wasn't alone. Bitcoin did the same thing all the way down to 115.8 before recovering. And here's ETH. ETH now, ETH was, look at the recovery that ETH had, up to 38.70, but we're having a little bit of weakness right now as I'm recording this on a Thursday morning. A little bit of weakness here. ETH could come back and retest this 30,800 line right there. That looks like that's in play, while Doge could retest 22 cents and maybe come back into the 21.95 area. So what does this mean? Crypto, well, so far it is up today. Light volume, that's a little bit, but where are we looking at in terms of a mildly green day? 9 out of the top 10 coins are up. Tron is reversing for some reason, but Dogecoin up, which is good. Again, moderate increases. We did have, interestingly enough, despite the FOMC, ETH spot ETFs up, Bitcoin spot ETFs, minor positive flows, but still up. But again, no rate cuts. And of course, Powell wasn't going to confirm anything for September. So that is what we're looking at right now. The markets across the board reacted to comments from U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, largely squashed any hopes for a rate cut in the coming month. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said he won't commit. The Fed first needs to see more data, of course. But they're supposed to be talking about the data that's already there, not what may come in the future. You can just keep kicking the can down the road forever. But that's what we have right now. But look, overall, a rate cut would be positive for crypto. A lack of news suggesting a cut would dampen the market's performance. Crypto market is proving its resiliency yet again with today's moderate uptick. So overnight we did see recovery, and we saw some memes actually recovering more. Pengu's up, Pump. Yes, Pump.funds token. If you bought on that dip at 0023 or 22 or 24, whatever that total drop was, and then you're up and you're feeling really good about the token. But most of us bought it much higher and we're like, still done. But that's crypto, right? Here's what Zero says about drops, right? Down more in 24 hours than most of my working friends will save in a lifetime. Yeah, crypto's easy. I know. And during the live stream, we had a lot of people who were like really feeling bad. But if you're like all in, especially on memes, big time and alts drop harder on the red days than Bitcoin does. And if you're all in on alts and you've got a lot in, yeah, your portfolio took a dip. Now remember, last year and the year before, with my big portfolio, I mean, it's amazing. You look and you say, man, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that you're down, even on one day on a big drop. But it recovers. It recovers. After days of bleeding, crypto Twitter turning majority bearish, it's only natural for alts to start bouncing back. So that's what we have. SWI, Pengu, TIA, Link, Doge, ETH, NEAR, all up over 2%. So that's what a recovery is after a big drop. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods, though. That's just that recovery for now, and then we'll see as the day comes on how things go. And as we go into our live stream on Thursday afternoon, which I'll probably start a little bit late again, so don't be worried at 4 o'clock if haven't started yet. I'll get there, 4:15, 4:30, I'll be there. Just hold on. Got a lot going on right now this week, but I'll be there. Dogecoin is attempting to break out of another descending trend line. That's right, another descending trend line and breakout. Also on the RSI, we'll take a look at zoomed out on the RSI and give a better look at what's going on in just a minute. But this is what Doge does, right? On these pullbacks, eventually it's going to break out of these descending resistance lines. And we saw a bigger one before. I mean, this was if we zoom out on the 3-hour chart and we take a look, right? We had this big one that went all the way back from December, touched again in January, and came all the way down to May, and we finally broke out of that in early July. So that was the big one to break out of. But yeah, on the short term, you could actually, draw another line here, right? And say, yeah, we just broke out of it. Now, it's not much of a breakout yet and is not really confirmed, particularly now on this, bigger time frame here. However, this is at 22.2. This was the support that we had before. We were looking at 22.2, bouncing off of it. And that's right where we are right now at that same point. So this dip could look more and more like that was the buying opportunity on the dip. Doesn't mean next week we're not out of the woods yet, because again, August always has another dip coming. So we will be ready for that. Dogecoin price rises. Bulls defend breakout above the 20.8 support cluster. What is that cluster? Well, that is our EMAs, 100 and 200 EMA, right? That's not the simple moving average. Essentially what that does is the EMA puts more emphasis on recent trading than previous trading as you go further back. And Doge defended the 200. Now, it didn't defend the 200 SMA. It did dip a little bit below, but now that's just a wick. Came back up. But the EMA, it bounced off and now back up to the 100. But here's the RSI on the daily. And we were looking at this. Someone asked about RSI overbought and what that means in the live stream yesterday. And I showed this exact chart. It's like when Doge traded up to 28 cents, that's when that RSI was overbought right there. And the chart just starts to shade that in the higher it goes over this 70, 75 mark here. So that was overbought. RSI is back down to 50 now. So that is so that's pretty strong. So that is pretty strong. Now the 100 EMA now sits at 20.8. So that is going to be the top of that support cluster, and the 200 EMA is at 20.3. That's the bottom. So those are the numbers we'll be looking at if Doge continues to fall, resettle back down, and if it drops back below 21 cents, that is what we're going to be looking for. Meanwhile, Dogecoin just flashed a rare weekly bullish signal. And this gets into, this is Candy's cat, and looking at the Ichimoku cloud with the Tenkan and Kijun cross. And so there was a cross that flashed right there on those lines. I don't know exactly what those lines are, but those that are heavy into TA, technical analysis, you can point to that and you can say, okay. To me, that doesn't have a whole lot of meaning behind it, but that's what we have. So find support, bounces off. Awesome. I'm all for it. And then we zoom out. Javon Marks is like, look, let's zoom out on Doge and let's look back at the 4-year cycles. The big double run we had 2017, kind of a double run in 2021. That's kind of it. What's happening in 2025 yet? Not much so far. This big run that we had was at the end of 2024 following the presidential election. And we could see this most recent run up to 29 maybe being that first mark. But Javon says, like, getting back up to our previous all-time high shouldn't be that difficult, right? Based on similarities to previous bull runs, the likeliness of Doge pushing over 226% from here to reach and break above the previous all-time high at 73 cents is extremely high. Now he goes on to talk about $1.42, $2, like where we go from there, but let's just see if we can get there first before we start looking at $1, $2, $5, $10, like all those crazy prices, right? Let's see if Doge can at least reclaim that. And let's see if we can make a new all-time high in 2025. So that's where I am right now. Come join the live stream in the afternoon. Make sure that you're subscribed. You got your notifications on. Leave a comment below. What do you think about this support cluster? And is the support going to hold? Are you one of those just waiting for a lower price to buy back in? I hear this, oh, I'm waiting for 18 cents now. Well, it was 28 cents. You'd be buying at 21. Now we get to 21 and you're like, oh, I'm not buying. I'll wait to 18. Are you ever going to buy? Are you ever going to buy? Again, give the video a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.